Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I know I haven't been able to upload a video for the last couple of days uh, because it's a tax season. It's a season where we make money, so that's one of the reasons. It was extremely busy weekend. Plus, it was my son's birthday, so I was celebrating. As you can see from the back, we were partying. Although we were trying to keep social distance as well, but at the same time, we had to do something for our 6-year-old. So we did that. So we're back here. Today we are going to talk about Saturn's transit. What is the impact for Saturn specifically for Aries moon? So I'm going to dedicate my entire time for Aries moon sign, or as we call in Hindi, Mesh Rashi. So before we begin, Aries, let's talk something about Aries. Aries is the first zodiac in the entire zodiac belt. It is ruled by Mars. The three major nakshatras or constellations are Ashwini, Bharani, and Kritika. Ashwini is ruled by Ketu, Bharani, Venus, and Kritika is ruled by Sun. So that's what Aries is all about. Now, it is a natural Kal Purush Kundali where you have first house and Aries being the first sign. So I've just set it up the same way for you guys so you can see what's going on here. So Saturn is going to be transiting through the 10th house for Aries, and it's going to be aspecting the 12th house to its third aspect. With the seventh aspect, it's going to aspect the fourth house and the 10th house. So what are the changes that you'd be looking at this point of time when Saturn is transiting through your 10th house? So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So even before I begin, the first thing you need to remember is that this is a very generic prediction or generic expectations from the chart reading. That is basically there could be a multiple signs or multiple planets for you sitting in the Capricorn, and that would have a different impact because remember all the planets when they're transiting, they have their own aura, they have their own you know magnetic field, and the same goes for any planet that's sitting in Capricorn before Saturn moves in as well. So as soon as Saturn moves in, it's going to interact with different planets and it's going to have a different impact. However, if you want to generalize, 99% of the cases, if there is no planet sitting in there or no planets aspecting, this is what you can expect from the transit. So first things first, the 10,000 rules, as you can see on the screen yourself, 10,000 rules your prestige, your career, your public image. So as soon as Saturn comes in there, there's going to be some major changes in that. Um, so there could be a significant change in the way people look at you. There could be an increase in responsibility, which would increase your prestige. You may become significantly more busier with your work, with your career, with your things related to career. You may be, if you're in a job, you may be thinking on translating over to your business. You may be trying to focus on your business anymore. And then at the same time, you may be also thinking about having two or more means of working together um, for you. So let's say, for example, if you are already in a business, you may be thinking of getting into a new business. If you're already in a job, you may be thinking about getting a new job, part-time job to increase because it somehow you need to do it, or you may be already in a job and now you're thinking of getting into a business. So everything can work together. And in fact, even before the transit happened on January 24, this may happen uh, about a month before, about 15 days to a month before, where you would have quit the job or where you have, given a resignation to your career or to your job, to your current job. So these are all the possibilities. I remember exactly when when Saturn was going through my 10th house. It was an amazing year for me. I started my new business, and my business was it was growing like anything, and it was difficult kind of to really understand how am I going to be able to do it. I was doing job and then I was working on my business as well. My job increased my responsibilities. As soon as I told my office that I'm gonna quit, I'm gonna just do my own thing, they just couldn't accept it, and they wanted to promote me. They increased my salary, they increased my perquisites, they gave me a car. The company gave their own car and and the driver as well. So that was basically when Saturn was transiting through my 10th house. So I was huge amount of opportunities, huge amount of responsibility, huge amount of work as well. And you will be successful. There is a lot of hard work that you'll be putting in. Remember, when you put in a lot of hard work, your third aspect to 12th house is basically you're gonna lose your sleep. You're gonna sleep less. You're gonna somehow incur debts, or your expenses are gonna go sky roof. So if you're spending, let's say for example, $3,000 a month, all of a sudden you might be spending about 7 to 8 thousand, double or maybe three times more your expenses. You may be paying extra rent for your office space. Maybe you already have one office space, you're expanding, and now you have two office spaces, and you're paying extra rent for or lease your new place for your business as well. So your expenses are definitely going to go through high, but they're probably going to go in your favor. Then you may also be thinking about, or you may start thinking about relocating to a different place. You may want to settle to a foreign country. You may be thinking about moving on to a foreign country, or there may be opportunities or people coming to you through your career. They may be coming to you and say, bring an opportunity where you can work abroad, work from abroad, or work for a foreign company, and so on and so forth. The reason the foreign is so important is because it is aspecting your fourth house from the seventh aspect. Now, when Saturn aspects, your fourth house, it is kind of it's going to try to separate you from your homeland. Um, it's going to try to take you away from your birthplace. So, depending on your chart, what promises are given in your chart in itself, the first things first you have to focus on is whether there is a chance or whether there's a promise of you going abroad at all. So I made a different video for foreign settlements. So you might want to have a look at it and see if that is a possibility of foreign travel, foreign settlement. This is a great time for you guys to think about it. Secondly, or at least start planning about it. Secondly, what you have to focus on is that when Saturn aspects your fourth house, there may be things related to fourth house. So even if it's not a foreign country, you may be thinking about building a new home, or you may be traveling or moving from your state or your province to another state or a province. So if you're based out of Texas, you may be thinking about going to New York, starting up your business, pushing onto your business. Or maybe if you're living in California, you may be thinking about going to you know somewhere east, Florida or something like that. Something completely opposite, something very different, something that you've been raised into, and you're going into something completely different. So that's what you can look at. If you're in India, you may be looking at, if you're born and raised in somewhere, let's say for example Bangalore, you may be thinking about going up north to Delhi. If you're born and raised in Bombay, you may be thinking about going to a smaller town or a bigger town. But it's definitely going to be a different experience for you, because there's definitely some changes happening to your 10th as well as your fourth house. um, if nothing, if there is no movement happening because of the other planet transiting as well, so in that case at least there's a chance that you may relocate because of your rent, or you may want to get into a bigger house. You may do some renovation in your house. You may do some changes to your house as well. So these are the major possibilities in your house, because fourth house represents all of these things, as you can see on the screen as well. um, it's basically your mother, your place of birth, your primary education. If you're a student, then you may be working really hard to get your grades up. And when I say student, I'm usually talking about kids who are studying, seventh grade, sixth grade, eighth grade, 10th grade, and so on and so forth. So you may be working really hard. If your kid is in school, he may be working really hard. He or she may be working really hard to get their grades up. So that's a major possibility. For a lot of people these days, there is also an opportunity to work from home. So that is a very solid possibility. And one of the reasons why this is happening is also because 10th house is a natural 10th house, a 10th sign. and it's aspecting your natural fourth sign and fourth house, which is Cancer. So a lot of relocation, a lot of blockages in traveling and transiting as well. Then the Saturn will be transiting the seventh house. Now, seventh house is basically a house of partnership, diplomacy, marriage, your business and relationship. So again, from 10th house for Aries, it's kind of a good sign because it's going to aspect the seventh house of Libra, which is a sign of business as well, and partnership. So if you're aspecting, if Jupiter, currently Jupiter is also sitting with Saturn, but next it's going to go back to Sagittarius in June, late June, and then it's going to come back to 10th house as well. So again, there is a possibility if Jupiter is aspecting, or your Venus and Saturn is aspecting your seventh house, or there's a possibility of getting into a new relationship. If you're already in a relationship, maybe you have to put more energy into relationship. If you're taking your relationship easy, then this is a time when your relationship will be demanding. It'll be asking a lot out of you. They will require more time. They will be asking more time. So Saturn in 10th house is kind of public image, right? And it's also aspecting your fourth house, which is your internal house, and the seventh house of marriage. So it's a very important transit for Aries moon sign. Whatever the houses that Saturn is aspecting right now are some of the most important houses. Remember, the Kendras, it is controlling 3 out of 4 Kendras right now, and basically your moon sign, because obviously, so moon sign is also getting affected. So somehow it's also affecting all the 4 houses, one or the other way, depending on how you look at it. So you will have added responsibilities. You will have a lot of focus on important areas of your life. For a lot of people, this is a great opportunity to change your life in important aspects. There is also a growth opportunity, amazing growth opportunity. As I said, in my case, my career grew, right. It broke. There was some barrier. It was almost that was stopping me from being successful, or getting for me to get that level. And then all of a sudden, I was promoted to vice president. So it was amazing career, and then I started my own business. I couldn't imagine that I can make that kind of money, but I started making that kind of money just in that business itself. So that was a great time. And then Saturn is also going to make you somehow bring in more people who are going to contribute to your career. It's going to bring along people who are going to bring more success to you. They're going to bring more projects to you. They're going to bring, kind of increase your prestige. They're going to go out and, you are going to now go out and market your business. If you never marketed or advertise about your business, this is the time to do it. This is the time when you will do it, no matter what you think. But this is the time when it's going to happen, because remember, it's also aspecting your 12th house, with the house of expenses. So that's it for today. If you have any questions about Aries moon sign, if you're going through this sign, and if you have any doubts, or if you want any kind of help, just go ahead and comment on the video below, and I'll be more than happy to look at it and give you any guidance that I can. One thing that I do want to tell you is that with the Saturn's transit, no matter who you are and what you believe in, you may be Hindu, Muslim, Christian, whatever, and if you believe in astrology, and if you're looking at astrology, one of the best ways to get through any Saturn's transit is just keep your head down, focus on what you're supposed to do, and just do it. Okay, there's no other way you can get out of Saturn's transit, or Saturn's Mahadasha for that instance as well. There's no remedy, there's no quick fix that you can focus on and say, okay, if I do so many mantras or so many donations, it's going to help me. It's not really going to help you. You be nice to people who are below you, or people who kind of service you or who help you out. Be nice to animals. Be nice to unprivileged or underprivileged peoples of the society, and kind of help them. Okay, that's one way where you will start feeling better, because when you look at someone else's pain, you realize how grateful you are, or how good of a life you have. So that's one of the ways you can better your experience when you're going through a worse or good or bad Saturn transit. One of the other things you have to remember is there's Ashtak Varga, which we have to look at. There are two different philosophies. One, you can go with the ascendant and look at the Ashtak Varga from there, or you can look at the moon's Ashtak Varga as well. So basically, the points that it gives you all for the Capricorn sign from the moon sign, because we are talking about the moon sign right now, change it to the moon sign, look at the 10th house from the moon sign, or Capricorn sign from the moon sign. What are the points you are getting on Ashtak Varga for Saturn? And that's how you're going to feel. I've seen it majority of time it works, and there are sometimes it doesn't work, and there are exceptions when it doesn't work. But we can come to that when we finish this series and get to Ashtak Varga series. But for now, if you have any questions, as I said, just go ahead and comment below. Like my videos, subscribe to my videos. I'm going to bring in new videos and a very different way of looking at astrology. There are so many videos, they may be talking more or less the same thing, but I try to bring in a new way of looking at it. A lot of research goes into it. So keep tuning in, and you have a safe and happy life.